Hi guys, before I start this video off, I would like to say that I do not mean any disrespect to any of the victims in this case. I simply got all of this information from the internet and just compiled it into one video. Well, in this case, it's 3 videos, but I got all the information from the internet, the interrogation clips, the police reports, and I just put it all together. And I do not mean any disrespect to the victims or the victims' families. Thank you. Hi guys, welcome back to my third Shawn Grate video. This is what I actually look like. I did not care to do my hair or my makeup today, and if you guys ever see me in public, this is it, this mess. But whatever, I really didn't expect the whole doing my hair and makeup for videos to last very long, so here we are, moving to the next level. Also, I don't have my kids here today. As a mother of 4, that usually never happens. Okay, I do have 2 of the kids, but hopefully you're not hearing them play in the background or jingling bells because it's Christmas time and I have all my Christmas stuff out. So hopefully this video goes a little smoother than every single video in my past. So we are talking about the Shawn Grate, a serial killer from Marion, Ohio again. If you haven't watched my first 2 videos about him, please go and do so you know what the hell I'm talking about. We left off when Shawn was getting arrested. Finally. Yeah, finally. So he kidnaps Jane Doe, keeps her for about 3 days, rapes her, tortures her, beats her, and she gets the strength by the grace of God to call 911. And Shawn, gets arrested. And now we are to the interrogation. And with the interrogation, they kind of do like the good cop, bad cop game with him. And the first cop was more so like the bad cop, real straightforward with him. And he just didn't trust him at all. So he's not opening up. He says that he kidnapped Jane because she was getting cold feet about marrying him. Jane didn't want to marry him. This cop is also asking him, what else are we going to find in the house? And Shawn, in Shawn's point of view, he's like, oh crap, they found those 2 dead bodies in my house already. So for whatever reason, he is saying nothing. You're not going to find anything. And here comes my dog. Why can I not just do a video without interruptions? He got a bath yesterday, so he is so clean and he smells so good. You say hi, Rover. But Shawn is saying there's nothing left in the house and just denying everything. They switched the good cop, which is a woman. Shawn starts opening up a little bit more, and the first thing he does is admit to killing Candace, which I thought was kind of odd because he thought that they had already found the 2 dead bodies in his house. So for him to be like, oh yeah, I killed my ex-girlfriend and I dumped her outside of the house and then set the house on fire, but you guys haven't found her yet. That was just a weird approach on his part. But this is also the only victim he cries about when confessing to the killings. And he says that he loved her so much. So he does admit to killing Candace after she threw a bag of tobacco at him because she wouldn't roll cigarettes for him in the middle of the night. But again, I wouldn't either. He leads the police to her body. And he's saying stuff like he didn't deserve her, she didn't deserve this. The police then ask him, how many more dead bodies are there? And Shawn's response was very sickening and cold, and gives you a really good insight on how messed up he really is. He says, well, how many more can I say without getting lethal injections? Like, he's only going to admit to it up until the point where it's a death sentence. Honestly, I think it's just one. Technically, in Ohio, you don't even have to be a part of the actual killings to get the death sentence. You just have to be there. Following that weird remark, Shawn admits to strangling Elizabeth and putting her body in the closet in his room that had the maggots crawling out of it. And he admitted to prying open her mouth so the flies could get in there to eat her faster, and duct taping the closet shut so the smell wouldn't leak into his clothes. The investigators asked when they go in the house, are they going to find anybody else? And he admits that Stacy Stanley is in the basement under a pile of rubbish. The investigators ask, is there anything else you want to admit to? And Shawn slips up and says, no, it's just the 4 dead bodies. And the investigator, I wished you could see her face in the interrogation tape, but you can kind of tell by her body movement that she's like 4. Because she says, Candace, Stacy, Elizabeth. Who else is there? And Shawn's face just, like, all the blood drains out of it. He turns ghost white. And he says, oh, well, I was counting Jane Doe as a 4th victim. Okay, buddy. Yeah, no, that's a Freud slip. That was God working right there. So the investigator calls it a night. And she tells Shawn, if there's anything else you would like to admit to, please think about it tonight. And the next morning, Shawn immediately says, oh, I must have forgot. In 2004 or 2005, I murdered somebody by the name of Diane or Dana, maybe just Dane. He couldn't even remember her name. So Shawn couldn't remember her name or even the year that he murdered this lady, but he's admitting that he killed her when she was selling magazines in Marion, and he had murdered her in his house and then stripped her of all her belongings, burned her belongings, and took her body and dumped it on Victory Road. And this has been one of the most expensive investigations for Marion. It was a cold case for 10 years, and they even went to England trying to figure out who this woman was. And Shawn's just watching it on the news like I can't stand that guy. And then Shawn is like, oh, Rebecca Lacey. Yeah, I killed her in February 2015 because she stole $4 from me, and it was all self-defense because she robbed me and then she pushed me. So he strangled her. Shawn then goes on to admitting to multiple rapes in the Mansfield area, especially to prostitutes. He would rape them, not pay them, and then just dump them back on the side of the road. After he confesses to everything, the investigators are putting the case together. And Shawn calls up because he wants to talk to them again. And, of course, they're thinking, what else does this guy have to say? I mean, there's so many robberies, rapes, murders, kidnappings. So he calls them up and he says, I'm a little confused because I keep getting this fan mail. And he had no idea why people from all over the country are writing him. One of the letters he presented to the investigators was asking who his favorite serial killer was. And so this part, I had to rewind 3 times because I was like, excuse me? Well, one of the letters was asking, who's your favorite serial killer? And Shawn responds to the investigator and says, well, I don't really like any of the serial killers because they're so messed up in the head. Yeah. Yeah, Shawn. They are messed up in the head. Then the investigator and Shawn kind of like talk about it. And I don't know how this investigator does it, because she is just so calm and cool and just acting like, you know, they're friends, they're buddies. Like, she really wants to help him. Because, okay, I can't cuss in YouTube videos, but I got a potty mouth. And I'd be like, Shawn, what the F are you talking about? Those serial killers are you, dude. Like, you are messed up in the head. But as he's conversating with the investigator about it, he says, well, I guess I can relate to Ted Bundy, because Ted Bundy had his heart broken and he was just getting revenge. And then he says, the Zodiac Killer is probably my favorite because the Zodiac Killer had a lot of emotional control over his killings. And that's actually really, like, yeah. Because Shawn had his heart broken by his mother. And everyone that he killed was women who was fighting back, trying to get power back. And that's one of the reasons why he hated his mother so much, was because she's a mom. She had power over Shawn. And in Shawn's eyes, women just didn't need the power. Women just didn't need any control of their own lives. He was asked if he was to be let out of jail right then and there, what would happen. And Shawn admitted, yeah, I would kill again. Shawn was pretty dead forward. Like, yeah, I would kill again. And then he starts talking about how he doesn't want to die, that he has kids, and he needs to be there for those kids. With the court case, there was a lot of testimony, and the testimony was very interesting to me. One of the really interesting ones was Shawn's older sister, who gave a little background about the childhood, and I talked quite a bit about it in my first video. Shawn had a very strained relationship with his mother, and his mother also had a pretty chaotic life. She got pregnant at 14 with Shawn's older sister, and she got married at 14 to the 21-year-old that got her pregnant. She then gets divorced, and she meets Shawn's dad when she was working as a stripper, and she was also an alcoholic. The household was reported as very hostile and battle for control. Everyone wanted to kind of be the top dog of the house, and it caused a lot of yelling, fighting, and arguing. This is when the mother decides to leave and move to Kentucky. And it makes so much sense, because Shawn killed the women that fought back, but then he let go the women who were very submissive. And in Jane Doe's testimony, that's how she survived. Was at first she fought back, she realized it was making everything worse, and then she fell backwards and started being like, okay, this is what's happening, this is life. And it made Shawn get his guard down to the point where she could escape. When the investigators brought up Jane Doe's escape, Shawn tried to take credit for it. Like, he did not want to take that L. He was saying, yeah, she escaped because I let her. Or, I purposely left that phone there so she could call for help. Okay, Shawn, I'm sure that's what happened. Shawn ended up getting a lot of charges, and I cannot memorize these charges, so I'm going to read them off to you. He got charged with 4 murders, 4 counts of rape, 3 counts of kidnapping, 2 counts of corpse abuse, 1 count of breaking and entering, 1 count of burglary, 1 count of unauthorized use of vehicle, 1 count of robbery, 1 count of tampering with evidence, and 4 counts of burglary. And it's a lot of charges because he did a lot, but it's split between the 3 counties. It's split between Mansfield, Ashland, and Marion. Right before Shawn gets sentenced, he's able to speak out. And when he's speaking out, it shows how arrogant this man really is. And I will read this off also. Shawn says, "Today is a good day. I hope we can move on from all of this. Can't say that I'm normal. I know right from wrong. If I have caused any type of hate or bitterness, you need to work on that. Forgive me." What? The Richland County Court only took 3 hours to convict him of 8 charges and sentence him to death. And he was not happy about that death sentence. He was pissed off. Here's his little face. He's mad. He's mad. So he appeals the death sentence, of course. But that is all I have for Shawn Grate, one of the worst men to walk around in Marion. Also, I need to say, because it's bothering me, and I'm not going to go back and fix it, but he graduated in 1995, not 1994. I'm not sure where I got 1994. I think my brain just kind of like substituted that in because that's the year I was born, and I'm more familiar with that number rather than 1995, but he graduated in 1995. I'm sorry. I'm sorry if that bugged anybody in my first video. I'm human. We make mistakes. But thank you so much for joining me for this 3-part video. I really enjoyed looking all of this up. And again, I love my hometown horrors. I know so many people who have had interactions with Shawn, whether you saw him at church or you went to school with him or you saw him on Plenty of Fish. I think he was on all the dating sites because I've heard a lot of people talk about, oh, I met him on Tinder, we went out on a date, and then he stalked me for like 3 months. But it's just been great talking to people who have met him, and then we have like these similar interests and we start talking about one thing to another. So again, if you have anything that you want to talk to me about, or you want to be featured on my channel, or if you want to be on my channel and talk about something, please let me know. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat. You can comment in this video and I'll get a hold of you. But I'm just a little weirdo and I like talking about this type of stuff. If you're a little weirdo like me, please get a hold of me. Thank you, and
smash that subscribe button.